Pharmacokinetics is the study of the effect the body has on drugs. In pharmacokinetics, we ask questions like, how does the drug get into the body and where does it go? What does the body do to the drug? And how does the body get rid of the drug? It is this branch of pharmacology that we will be looking at in this series. So let's begin with a pharmacokinetics acronym you'll find in every textbook of pharmacology, ADME, A-D-M-E. This stands for absorption, which is how the drug gets into the body. Distribution, which is where the drug goes to in the body. Metabolism, which is how the body chemically modifies the drug. And finally, excretion, which is how the body gets rid of the drug. These are 4 elements we need to consider when talking about the pharmacokinetics of a certain drug. The following
Within the body, a pain signal has been fired off and is being transmitted across the synaptic cleft at a regular frequency. But when these neurons are under the influence of opioids, the transmission of pain signals is severely diminished. Over time, an interesting phenomenon occurs. The neurons re-establish the strength of the transmission. This is referred to as opioid tolerance. A closer examination of the neuroplasma membrane might give us better insight into one of the mechanisms involved in this phenomenon. Upon binding of the opioid ligand with its receptor, a cascade of biochemical events are set off, which collectively induce the overall suppression of the neuron's ability to transmit signals. However, within minutes of the receptor's activation by the opioid ligand, the entire receptor complex is internalized into the cell. Under normal conditions, most of the internalized receptors are recycled back to the cell surface, while some are degraded through a complex biochemical process. And thus, a delicate equilibrium exists between the recycling of the internalized receptors and their degradation. During the development of opioid tolerance, there seems to be the reversal of this trend, so that more receptors are degraded than recycled. This phenomenon is known as receptor downregulation. As a result, fewer receptors are available on the cell surface for the opioids to bind. Consequently, more opioids are needed to induce the same level of signal inhibition during pain processing. Therefore, it appears that receptor downregulation may be one of the underlying causes of opioid tolerance, and further research is required to evaluate this hypothesis.
Feel like you come down yet?
Yeah.
Stop right there. Think you need to see medical or something?
Are you gonna do nothing for me anyway?
No? All right, go ahead and step in here for real quick.
I had a great life. I had a great job, great family. I was engaged when I wasn't using. And then these past 2.5, 3 years just been the worst. I've lost everything. Everything in life. These marks here are all old. You see all these little marks right here on my hand? I mean, you can't see any veins in my arms or hands. See, these marks, all these right here, these are all old. All these ones are all new. All the way up here, on this leg, down this leg here, all my whole legs, everything. Those are the new ones. It's pretty bad addiction. I don't even get high anymore. I just do it so I can feel normal. I'm starting to get withdrawals, and it's starting to take effect now since I haven't used in almost 12 hours. You start getting cold, cold, hot, cold, hot. You start sneezing a lot, nose starts running, vomiting. You can't get comfortable. Imagine being physically sick with the flu, just where you don't want to move. Your bones ache, your body aches, your stomach hurts. You just feel like throwing up. You just drained of everything physically. And that's what I'm going to start going through. I'm scared, and let's be honest.
A lot of us have an idea in our heads about what a person addicted to drugs looks like, but the truth is, anyone can become addicted to drugs. Addiction is when you feel a strong urge to keep taking a drug, even if it is causing harm. To stop, ask for help. Drug addiction doesn't depend on your income, your job, your age, race, or color. Addiction is a disease of the brain, and it can happen to anyone. You probably already know that you can become addicted to tobacco, alcohol, and illegal drugs. But even prescription drugs can be addictive when not taken as directed or when you take medication not prescribed for you. There are scientists who study drug abuse. Their research has taught us a lot about what makes you more likely to become addicted to drugs. Things like having family members who have had a drug problem, starting drugs at a young age, having mental health problems like depression, but you do not become addicted if you don't take drugs. If you or someone you love has a problem, get help. And if you do become addicted, you can be treated and you can recover. They tell their friends they've given up drugs forever. It usually doesn't work. Eventually they slip and start using again. Why are drugs so hard to quit? Because addiction is a brain disease. Addiction is when you feel a strong urge to keep taking a drug, even if it is causing harm. To stop, ask for help. When someone takes a drug, they first feel a rush or a high. But over time, the high is not as strong, and they need the drug to keep from feeling bad. This is what happens when you are addicted.
Lately, I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be.
Are brain cells called neurons and binds to receptors that trigger the good feelings. Now, normally this dopamine would be reabsorbed back into the neuron by a dopamine transporter. However, crack alters this process. It attaches to the transporter and blocks the reabsorption, allowing dopamine to build up and continually stimulate the receptors. As a result, you feel, well, really good for about 10 minutes. But soon after, the dopamine levels in the brain plummet, causing an extreme low and often feelings of depression, which is why many users typically smoke more, hoping to reach that high again. Unfortunately, these dopamine levels can take a long time to naturally replenish, contributing to physical and psychological dependence or addiction, as well as increased irritability, restlessness, and paranoia. In some cases, crack or cocaine abuse can lead to something called delusional parasitosis, the feeling that bugs or insects are crawling under the skin. This often leads to self-destructive behavior like scratching or biting in an effort to get rid of the imagined bugs. In the most serious cases, crack's impact on the heart can cause heart attacks, strokes, or even stop the heart altogether, leading to death.
Now, you've all heard of the placebo effect before, when something with no known therapeutic value can actually make people feel better. It's a great trick our minds play on us, that by believing and expecting something to work, it actually does. But what's weird is that the strength of the effect can differ for some really strange reasons. For example, the same placebo can treat pain half as well as aspirin, while at the same time treating pain half as well as morphine. Morphine's a much more powerful painkiller, but a placebo is half as effective as both? Saying a placebo will reduce pain reduces pain, but saying that the same placebo will increase pain increases pain. Believing that a placebo will make you feel better will make you feel better. Believing that it won't has the opposite effect. Now, placebos aren't just pills. They can be creams, injections, surgeries, or drinks. You can even get placebo buttons. They don't actually do anything, but they sure as hell make you feel like you're in control. But not all placebos are equal. The effect of the placebo is bigger when the pill itself is bigger. Or if you have 2 instead of 1. Or 2 once a day instead of 1 twice a day. And a capsule will usually beat a pill. And a syringe will usually beat a capsule. And anything with a big ass science machine can outperform any of them. A plain pill works worse than a branded one. A discounted pill works worse than a pricey one. And even a pill in a plain box does worse than one that's all shiny and shit. You can even get addicted to placebos. In one study, a group of women took placebos for more than 5 years. 40% of them suffered withdrawals afterwards. In fact, the effect of placebos can be so strong that some people want them banned from sports. But I mean, how would you even test for that? Placebos don't even seem to work from place to place. For example, in Germany, using a placebo to treat ulcers works better than anywhere else in Europe. But using a placebo that treats hypertension doesn't work nearly as well as it does for its neighbours. Now remember that all of this is about comparing things that both have nothing medically effective in them, which goes to show that a placebo isn't about what's in it, but about the beliefs that we load onto it. Our minds create the medicine, and that is pretty freaking weird.
The placebo effect does work. In some clinical trials, the placebo pills actually outperformed the genuine medication. So, how does it work? Well, when we get ill or hurt ourselves, our body puts up defences against the real problem. For example, if we catch the flu, our temperature rises. But it's not the flu virus that causes this. Our body increases its internal temperature to fight off the bacteria, because it knows bacteria can't survive in a hot environment. The placebo effect breaks down these defences. Because our own body creates these symptoms, it also has the power to get rid of them. So, when we're given a sugar pill and told it will cure our illness, an authority figure, in this case a doctor, has given our brain permission to stop its defences, so our symptoms get better. Also, when we're told we've been given a pill that will cure us, our brain releases endorphins because it's good news, and because endorphins are natural painkillers, our symptoms improve. However, the placebo effect doesn't help fight the underlying virus itself. It only helps nullify the experiences of the illness. Despite this, the placebo effect has been able to produce some amazing physical results in clinical trials. For example, it has made warts completely disappear, and even made bald men who thought they were being given hair regrowth serum regrow their hair, all with the power of their mind.